Hi, everyone. My name is Tanya Hertz, and I'm professor of entrepreneurship and business management at San Diego State University and Miramar College. And today I'm going to be talking to you about how to build your online resume, which is your LinkedIn profile. So I'm going to start by opening up our LinkedIn PowerPoint, and we'll be using that as we move along. So just a little bit of background about LinkedIn. The majority of recruiters of companies out there are going to Google your name. Over 98% of US companies said that they will use some form of social media for recruiting, is from a survey in 2017. As of 2018, we know that the number is over 99% of recruiters will tap into some sort of social media, and they include LinkedIn in that as well. And one of the interesting things is, so 73% of companies said that they successfully hired a candidate with social media, including LinkedIn, but only 36% of job seekers are actively on and using LinkedIn. So this can give you a real advantage over the competition. Now, LinkedIn is for people who have or if we're looking for jobs in a professional setting. So these are for people with bachelor's degrees, at least associate's degrees. About 64% of LinkedIn users have a bachelor's degree or higher. That doesn't mean that you should not be on LinkedIn if you only have an associate's or you don't even have your associate's yet. If you're looking for a professional job, you should be on LinkedIn. Make sure that you include a photo. 60% of people respond better to visual information than plain text, and you're 11 times more likely to get viewed if you do include a photo. It should be high quality. You should be dressed in professional attire. You can get your photo taken at the next job fair. I know they take photos there for free, even at the Miramar College job fairs. One thing I do want to say is that there is the potential for some forms of discrimination based on recruiters having access to your photo. However, we do know that recruiters are likely to view your LinkedIn profile, and they are more likely to view you and to respond better if you do have a photo. So it's up to you whether or not you want to include it, but I highly recommend that you do at this point. We'll see. There's some lawsuits pending, and we'll see if that changes in the near future. So LinkedIn is your online resume. It should have all of the information of your resume except more. So think about the selection process or the recruiting process from the perspective of a company. Usually when they're looking at resumes, you're an HR professional, you're looking at resumes. On average, they spend about 15 seconds on each resume. If they like you, what they'll then do is they'll put the resumes that they like in a separate stack, and they'll research these people more. The way that they research you is typically they go online and they'll find you on LinkedIn. And so it's important that you have your information there. A good thing that you can do is actually give a link to your LinkedIn account on your resume, either through a QR code or a link. And that helps them, especially if your name is common or you share the same name of somebody who's maybe a celebrity, or hopefully not a negative connotation with the name. But if you do, you can always add a middle name or add a middle initial. So you do want to have a summary or an introduction section. This is essentially like the objective statement on your resume. So I wanted to say one thing about when they actually go find you on LinkedIn, you need to make sure that LinkedIn has at least as much information as your resume, if not significantly more information. So your objective statement is not short like it is on your resume, is only one page. It should be 2 to 3 paragraphs on your LinkedIn profile. And this section, a good idea is to treat it like a combination of an objective statement and a little autobiography about yourself. You can also include skills, languages that you speak, anything that you want to do. So I wanted to share one other thing. Let's go ahead and go on to my LinkedIn profile. Let's see here. So my LinkedIn is here. So here's my LinkedIn. I've already signed up for it. There's my information. You have to add the profile section of introduction. I've already added it. Mine is here. Mine is written in the third person. It's probably better to write yours in the first person. I actually had and one of my assistants helped me write it a few years ago, but it's up to you. Third person is fine. First person is fine. But you definitely want to make sure that it talks a little bit about your background, talks a little bit about the job you're looking for if you are looking for a job. And then you also want to have, the next section is you want to have the experience section. So you'll want to make sure, let's say this is the edit option. You want to make sure that you choose the company and make sure that you're clicking on the actual company name. So like if I were to be changing this and I put San Diego Miramar College, excuse me, Miramar College, you want to make sure that you're actually clicking on that, because the way that employers find you through Google is it's well, the way that you're found in general, the way that you get primacy in Google is how many connections there are in websites. LinkedIn is wonderful because there's so many redirects. By doing things like this, it helps your name get higher and higher and higher in Google. So this is why, one of the main reasons why we use LinkedIn. So I did that there. You do put the dates that you're working, right? And then in the description section, if you haven't written this yet, you can cut and paste from your actual resume, so that that's where you put your job duties. It's also so important to add some sort of context, some media, some photos, some documents, something that really shows us what it is that you can do and what you've done. So I would highly recommend for you at least 1 or 2 samples of work. It can also be in the education section. You can put a sample of a PowerPoint presentation that you've created. See, on mine, I've done a lot of news stories. And so these are all stories. Like this was from, I think, Newsweek when they spoke to me last week or last month, a couple weeks ago, about email overload. So there's an article there. I was on 10 News a couple of weeks ago there. Talked to an article here. Talk to KUSI here. So mine might be a little different than yours. Maybe yours might be just something like a photo of you at work, or a photo of you in your professional attire, or maybe, like I said, a presentation or some sort of video that you've done. But make sure you have something in there for each of the jobs, right? Okay, so I'm not going to save this because all right, perfect. So let's go back to our PowerPoint presentation. We also want to make sure that the experience section is as detailed as possible. Like I showed you on my LinkedIn, you want it robust, right? So a resume is condensed, LinkedIn is robust, as much information in there as possible. All of your past jobs, because the more that you have in there, the higher and higher and higher your name is going to get in Google, okay? Make sure that you have at least 3 or 4 job duties. You can write it as a sentence in this, or you can still use bullets. I personally like the bullets. You know, you can just cut and paste from your resume and just put it right there on LinkedIn. And make sure, like I said before, as much media as possible, external documents, school papers, blogs that you've written, as long as they're somewhat professional. Photos of yourself volunteering, working on a school project, a video of yourself answering common resume questions. You can just record a video and put that on there. A presentation, right? Also consider including as much volunteer experience as possible. A lot of recruiters like seeing volunteer work because not only does it tell them a lot about your ability and the skills that you've acquired, but it also tells them that you're socially minded and that you care about the environment or people or the planet, right? Animals, whatever it is that you're environment, whatever it is that you're volunteering towards. You can also include additional information, links to, things like your Twitter account, your blog, your website, but always make sure that you're keeping it professional. In terms of professional recommendations, it's a great idea to get professional recommendations. This is essentially an online LOR, letter of recommendation. It's difficult to get these. LinkedIn requires that you ask for these, and you can only make a recommendation if you've worked with that particular person. Don't ever ask somebody you don't know for a reference. They carry a lot of weight. For me, in my company, when I'm hiring somebody, I will use a LinkedIn professional recommendation in lieu of a letter of recommendation for the file. So, and a lot of companies do the same thing. So a good way to get a recommendation is to give a recommendation. If you don't want to share your activity broadcast while you're making these changes in LinkedIn, you can turn them off, and here's information on how to do that. Don't ever include the soft skills in a list, right? You show that you possess the skills. You don't tell them, right? You can also apply for jobs with LinkedIn. You can find connections through your email. LinkedIn will verify connections if you type in people's names. And so basics of SEO, I just want to tell you the basics of search engine optimization. This is not correct here. It says 95%. I'm changing this right now because we know as of this year, over 99% of recruiters are going to be Googling your name. You can buy your domain name and create a website. That can help you to get your name up in Google. You can then research keywords in your industry and then include them in your online content using meta tabs. You can publicize your site. The most important thing that you need to do is you need to make sure that you are on, when we type your name into Google, that it comes up with you, right? And that recruiters can find you when they're searching you. A way that you can do that is make sure that your anything that's professional is public. You can even go on Facebook and you can, or Twitter or any of the sites, and make sure that whenever there's something that you were doing something professional, or you're volunteering or something that makes you look good, that you're making that public, right? You can do it just from post to post, deciding which ones are public or not. Now, in terms of this class, I do want to see both a screenshot of the summary section or the introduction section. And that was, like I showed you on LinkedIn, mine. I also want to see your experience section. And in the experience section, I don't need to see every job that you've had. Just take a screenshot of at least one of the jobs. And I want to see that you were able to, let me go ahead and go back to my LinkedIn here. Oops, I'm sorry, where am I? Back to my LinkedIn here. I just want to see that you understood how to put the name of the company in there. I also want to see that you have a description of your job duties in there. So take that screenshot so that I can see that. And I also want to see that you at least have one media, whether that's a PowerPoint slide, whether that's a sample of your work, a document that you've worked on. So for some of you might not have, or a photo of yourself in business attire is fine. You might not have that. You can also include just a link to the website of the company. And when I showed you before, let me just go here and do that here on this one. In the media section, you can upload right here an internal document that you have, or you can also put a link. So it's good enough for me for the assignment, even just a link to the company's website. But I do want to see that you have something in there. The more links, the more redirects, the higher the probability that your name is going to be found in Google, right? Okay, what else? So just a screenshot of one of the jobs showing me, like I said, this would be perfect, a screenshot like this. And then you can put both of those on a Word document and then upload those to Blackboard, or you can even just attach them separately. Either way is fine with me. I just need to see those two sections, right? Experience and that introduction/summary section, right? Okay. Have a great day. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will talk with you soon. Take care.